Hi everyone, thanks for joining me yet again, Orange County National. Today, I want to have a look at getting stuck in the downswing. It seems to be a very common feeling that players can often have that just makes it hard to get good connection with the ball, hit the ball flights that you want. Before I go into the video, if you're enjoying the content that I've put out so far, please remember to hit subscribe so that you don't miss any helpful tips that may help you with your game. Okay, so today I want to go through a three-step process. First, I want to cover a few concepts to be aware of that often lead to that player feeling stuck as they're coming halfway through the downswing. That leads to just compensations through the shot. Once we've gone over the concepts, I've got one drill that I find has been really helpful for a number of players. I really like the feel myself, and I feel like it really ties in a lot of the conceptual stuff that we'll touch upon in the beginning. And then once we go over the drill, I just want to discuss training the feels or areas that I'm considering that may help you to help you with your game. So we're going to go through the concepts first, a simple drill to help, and then how to train it. Okay, so when a player is getting that stuck feeling coming into the shot, so just to reference exactly what we're going to go over today, is that when a player's moving down into the shot, into this position here, and that stuck feeling of the club, the right arm getting trapped here behind the body, to where then the club essentially has to like flip and through the shot and just not lead to a good impact position. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at. Concepts to consider. First of all, in transition, the timing of pelvis, rib cage, arms, hands, club. If we get a segment that goes really quickly, typically maybe pelvis for a player or upper body dominant, if we get that kind of a sequence or that timing of events in the transition, that can often leave the hands and the club behind and lead to the arms getting a bit stuck behind us. Okay, so first concept is just the timing in the transition. Second thing we're going to look at is that where the hands are coming from, but we're going to go over two hands, arms, club. Actually, we could tie it all together. So first thing we're going to discuss with the hands, arm and club is that if we get narrow at the top here, we've essentially lost space on the way down. So if there's a transition there, even if it was the timing was okay, the hands and the arms and club are already pinned behind the body. So I see that a lot, that through players through backswing, they get kind of narrow here. There's not much room for this right arm. And then they have to find the space somewhere through a compensatory move in the start of downswing. So that's concept number two, the right arm getting narrow and getting pinned to the side of the body through backswing. So we have to find that space already before we even move into the downswing. Okay, and then number three is, let me just think the best way to show this would be this way, is the hands getting really deep and behind the body in backswing. So again, already the body has to work hard, and this actually, like the hands getting narrow, often leads to the player really shifting the way that they move in transition to try and create the space. So as you notice in there, a big part of being able to have that space in downswing is just how you move throughout your backswing. And that's where the drill really comes in very handy, because it just helps you to, one, make sure that you don't get too narrow with your right arm, two, make sure your hands don't get too deep, and then three, from a sequencing standpoint on the way down, it helps you to match up your body and your arms so that you feel a lot of space. So they're the three things we're looking at: the narrow arm, the hands getting deep, and then the timing of the transition. Okay, so the drill that I've got is as simple as this. I'll show you face on first. Is if you get into a good setup position, making sure obviously pelvis, rib cage, arms hanging freely. We're going to let the arms hang, and I'm just going to take my left hand and put it behind my right forearm here. And you can even use your right hand or your trail hand for left-handed golfers as almost a club face reference here. So as we move into backswing, you can see how my arms are matching my body to him quite nicely. And you can see how if the hand was a reference to the face, it's nicely moving into the position the face would be there in the backswing. And then if we go all the way up to the top here, you can see that working on this, I'm keeping that space through the right forearm. You can see there's a lot of length here. You can see that from down the line, like if I go there, you can see that obviously my hands are not getting too deep behind my turn. So I'll show you from this side now here. You can see how my hand that I'm referencing as a club is always staying pretty much in front of my body, so that if I was to go into downswing then, like very easily I can get that right elbow back in front of my body there, and I can even use the hand again as a reference for the face I work down. So great feel for not just backswing, but then working through that initial transition. And you can see there how like I'm working on the timing element as well as I'm doing that move down. Okay, so I just feel here, I like it when the player feels stuck. I like them to feel like, oh my goodness, I've got so much room there to work with, and they're very clear on how to get the club on the ball. Okay, so really great drill for that. Final comment here really on the drill itself is that from face on, if we make a nice turn there and we get the right arm in a good position, it's really important for the player to have the range through the left arm to meet up with that right hand. So you can see for me to do that, I've got to work really well through this left shoulder. I've got to be able to have like a nice amount of reach. If you do this drill and get to here and then you can't really get the left hand on, you'd have to look at range of motion around the neck, around the shoulder, rib cage. So then you can look at those areas and some potential exercises, movements, or whatever plan you may need to improve around that aspect. You can come up with a bit of a plan for to work on nailing that position there. So once you've done a few rehearsals with the drill itself and you felt how much space you could create for your arms, time then to pull the club into play. And when training it, number one key I'm going to give you is that when you're moving to here, just nice and slow rehearsals. And then just be very clear on where, when rehearsing, you want the top of backswing, or what you would like it to feel like. So when I'm going to here through top of backswing, I just feel like I have a ton of space. Now you can see there from face on, I already don't have as much room for my right hand as when obviously I was doing the drill. And that's just because I'm managing the weight of the club as well as having to reach through that left arm. So again, the better you can do at the drill, the more chance you've got in the swing. So slow rehearsals, feeling as similar as possible to the drill, being clear on where top of backswing is, and then more importantly then, rehearsing down, feeling a lot of space and being clear on how you'd get the club to the ball. So I even like nice slow rehearsals from here. How am I going to get onto the ball? That feels great there to me. And then when you're ready and you're clear there, just hit balls at a pace where you feel like you have a clear sense of where top of backswing is and how it should feel. Because lots of people that get stuck, they're used to being quite quick. So the transition just happens in a fashion that they can't even feel where the top is. So for a lot of players that kind of get stuck, I'll do a pause here, they'll feel it down, and then we'll feel like there's a lot of time in that transition phase. So I'll hit one for you here now. I'm trying to be as smooth as possible in that transition phase. So a little quick there. I would have liked to have felt almost like the sense of a pause almost at that top position, so that I could really reference then how close I was there to when I do the drill. But I did like the feel of, I did feel like I had a lot of space halfway down. So just something that will have a big impact on whether you can, integrate the feel of creating that space. It's just that sense of pace in which you train, using some maybe slower swings and then building upwards. Okay, so just to recap, conceptually, 3 things to consider. 1, the segments and how they're matching up in transition, how the speed in which they're firing in the downswing. 2, that right arm, is it getting too narrow on the way back? causing you to have to create space in the transition. Third thing then we looked at conceptually was like, are the hands getting too deep that the body's having to work them? That one, they're already pinned behind if you go to move, but then also is the body having to work them in front in a compensatory way. So they're the three concepts. Then we got the simple drill and then just how to train it. Okay, so I'd love to hear how some people get on with that. If you do feel like you do get stuck in the transition move into the downswing. So yeah, would love to get some feedback on how this little session kind of helps you. Aside from that, I'm just really loving this process of sharing on YouTube, and I definitely want to help people more and provide more value. If there is a video that you would love shooting for yourself, I'd love to do it. So feel free to make a comment, any common themes, things like that. Absolutely super helpful for me, because then I feel like I'm providing something that is directly for you.